All right, October 1st, 2018. It's Monday, I believe. This is our lesson in editing. This will be one of two. And so USB connection. This is going to go to the computer. I'm going to plug this in. And then on the side of the camera, where you put your hand, there's a USB plug. Okay, this is what you're going to plug into the extension cable. I'm going to plug this in. The computer just found the camera. And it also says mass storage connected. Keeps finding it. USB drive F. Everybody see that? That's what this camera is called, USB drive F. So the camera, with the camera connected through USB, we can see that we've got USB drive F is right here. And then on every single computer where you're going to save all of your footage from your TV commercial, PSA, short film, music video, all of your footage is going to go to inside of a hard drive that's connected to each computer. So, and they all have names. So typically get into a habit of naming a folder. Sam's P&F, Mathis Practice, Kennedy Trout, Julia Warner, Halverson, okay? So whenever these people come back into this computer, they know where all their stuff is because they've named it, okay? So I've done the same thing. Let me go back to the computer here. I'm gonna hit this magnifying glass. I'm gonna type in this PC, double click that, and I'm gonna go to drive F because that's the camera that's connected. So if I double click that, and I should also mention here, these this stack of yellow sheets here, there's probably 35 of these sheets. This walks you through everything on how to acquire all of the footage, on how to do what I'm doing. So you're getting it live and in front of you. You'll have it on YouTube, and you'll also have it in written form. So 3 different ways to get the info that you need. All right, so when you go to drive F, we've got DCIM. You don't want that, so write that down. No. MP root, you don't want that. Nope, Private, this is what you want. Double click on private. So I would write that down. And then AVCHD, this is the one that you want to use. Don't use M4 root, don't use Sony, use AVCHD. We're going to double click on that. You're also going to double click on BDMV. Double click. And then you're also going to click on Stream, STREAM. Don't click on Playlist. Don't click on Clip INF. You want Stream. Okay? So all the files that I filmed last night for your benefit are on this camera. The date was wrong on the camera, so it registered it as October 7th. It's clearly not October 7th. It's October 1st. So I changed the date, but I left. Let me go back to, let's see, video 1 right here. 28 and 29. So acquiring your footage, basically what you have to do is find the shot that you want to bring in. You click and you drag it over into this folder, and then it's going to copy into it. So I'll just delete 20, I'll delete 29. It's gone. So to take out over 29 from the camera, click, dragging, and now it's copying. It is copying to the external hard drive that's on the computer. 100%, it's done, 28, 29. During my prep hour this morning, I went through and I named all of these shots. Rabbit, chain link fence, boom up shrub, camera going through grass on block, wood block explain, wood block digislate, boom up on street, boom up into tree. So I named all of those. I didn't have any actors or actresses last night because, well, none of my family wanted to be on TV, so I just used stuff around our neighborhood. So 28 and 29, I haven't named these. I want to show you how to name footage here. So I'm going to double click on 28. Sound effect. That's just my phone. I put Digislate on my phone. It's a shrub cutter thingy. All right, so it's a hedge trimmer. So I'll put in, so I wouldn't use that shot because it's not very flattering of my legs. I was just kidding. Hedge trimmer SFX. Does anybody know what SFX stands for? Sound effects, very good. 29, I don't know what number 29 is yet. I'm gonna double click on it. Leaf blower SFX. It's just on my phone again. I'm a strong believer in Black & Decker. So of course I'm not going to use that video. I'm just going to use the sound. I'm going to show you how to make the video just using sound here too. So I'm going to close that, and this is leaf blower SFX sound effects. All right. Any questions up to this point? No questions. All right. Good deal. So this is my camera. I've got all the footage in. I didn't want to have you watch all the footage go in, so I copied it all in really quick. So I made a folder in my D drive, Video Assets D. Let me pull that up again. Magnifying glass, this PC, double click it. So Windows C, this is where your programs are stored on this box. This is a box here connected to the monitor. That's where your programs and everything are stored. And then Video Assets D, this is where your footage is going to be. There's a DVD drive, USB drive F, that's the camera, and then my H drive, teacher drive. So we're done with the camera. We've got all the footage off of this. So what you can do with the camera here, if you look right here, you and your group have a camera connected with a USB cable. The next step that you're going to do, you can write in your notes, you're going to hit the X so that you don't make the hard drive get stuck. Once the hard drive gets stuck, then we have to wipe the camera. So if you just unplug it and you put it back in, we're probably going to have to wipe the camera because the hard drive is still spinning. You have to stop the hard drive. So you have to hit this X, and it's going to say disconnect from computer before exiting USB function. Ready to exit USB function? Yes or no? Michael, what do we hit? Look here. What do we hit? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. We do hit yes because we do want to disconnect. What happens if we don't disconnect? Anybody remember? What happens?
The hard drive doesn't stop spinning, so you have to wipe the camera.
We have to wipe your camera. Okay, so we're going to hit yes. And we're disconnecting the camera. The computer says goodbye to the camera. And now we can put this little plug. This little plug just hangs right there. It goes right in here, this little holder, like this, where your hand goes in. So it's just tucked away. It's just part of the camera. All right. Any questions on that? No questions on that. All right, so let's get editing. I'm going to show you how to get into Adobe Premiere. So we're going to go to Programs. We're going to go up to, so first we're going to go down to the Windows menu here, and then we're going to go to Adobe Production Premium CS6. So write that down. Adobe Premium CS6. And then we're going to go to Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. I know that all of you guys are going to watch this again and you're going to write everything down because it could be an open note quiz. You never know. I love to give open note quizzes. All right, so here you go. You can do a new project. You can open a project or you can ask for help. So we want to make a new project. So we're going to click on New Project. And we're going to give this a name. We'll name it 5th Hour Edit Practice. Practice. All right. And then we're going to go to scratch disks. So this is really important. If you and your group get this wrong, you are going to have an editing NIGHTMARE. Nightmare is what I just spelled. So you must go into scratch disks. Go into scratch disks. And we want to point the computer to video assets, and we want to go to the folder that we just created, which is Tauchi 2018 Video 1 Training Editing. So we'll put that in there. It's going to change that folder. We'll go to Browse, Select Folder, Browse, Select Folder, Browse, Select Folder. It remembers that. And go to Browse one more time. Second hour, Video Assets, Training Editing, Select Folder. Okay, so all of everything is going to Video 1 Training Editing, Training Editing, Training Editing. That's where we want it to go. When you start making your folders for your TV commercial or whatever you're making, you want to put those into the same folder, just so that the computer can find all of your assets, okay? So we'll hit OK. You and your group will select, let me bring this back to what it usually is. You want to select AVCHD. AVCHD. We're going to double click that. And then there's 1080i, there's 1080p, and there's 720p. You guys are filming in 1080p, which is the highest quality that is available in this area. Well, there's 4K, but we don't have 4K yet. So you want to double click on 1080p, and then you want to select AVCHD 1080p 30. The only one that says 30 there, okay? There's 7 selections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You want to click on the only one that says 30, okay? And here we are. This is Adobe Premiere. This is what you'll be editing all of your stuff in this trimester. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in some of our footage. So down here, this is where we can bring in our footage. Right now, we've got sequence 01, and that's what we're going to work with today. But in order to get the footage in here, there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can right-click with your mouse, right-click, and select Import. And then we're going to find our folder here. We're going to go to Video Assets, and it's under Tauchi Training Editing, which is right here. So there's DigiSlate. So these are all the shots that I filmed last night. So we're going to bring in this one, open. It brings it in, importing the file, and it brings it in. There it is. So if we double click, hit play, that's just my phone. It's just telling you what it's just shot examples. Okay, so we'll right click again, go to import, and let's bring in a whole bunch this time. So what you can do is you can select one and go all the way over to here. Then you can hit the shift key and it selects all of those. It draws up, you probably can't see the blue box up there. These are all selected as blue, and we hit open and it brings all of them in to your bin here. Okay, and they've already been named. I named them before I brought them in, so that's a big part of staying organized. So I'm going to go to import one more time. I'm going to select this one and all the way down here. So I'm selecting all of these, and we'll hit open. Any questions so far? All right, importing all the files, they're all in here with our sequence. Okay. You can also go down to icon view. You can have a list view, or you can do an icon view. Icon view will show you the picture of whatever it is that you took video of, which is really kind of handy. It just kind of shows you what it looks like. There's a rabbit I filmed. I didn't shoot the rabbit, I filmed the rabbit. Okay, so these are all the shots that I filmed. All right, so this is up here, this is your preview window. This is your program window. This is your timeline. And we'll get to all these buttons here, what they do. It looks overwhelming, but it really, really is simple. It's very intuitive. If you've ever worked with iMovie or anything like that, you'll get this pretty easily. So let me just double click on, we'll go to 006. All right, I'm gonna hit play. we're gonna mount the camera to my jib here and do a boom up and a boom down shot here. All right, so that's a behind the scenes shot. Here's the boom up of the trees. So I'm actually put the camera on the jib. I'm gonna hit play. So here's the shot. Okay, so let's just take this one for instance. There's some garbage at the very beginning that we're not going to want to keep in there. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that really quick. We want to find where our shot, where we want it to start. If we were to make a tree documentary, it looks like. So still readjusting the shot, and the camera's in motion. I would stop it right there. So now we can tell the shot, okay, start at that point. So we want to hit a mark in, which is right there. We're going to hit mark in. The computer is going to recognize that as our starting point. It puts in the mark in point, and we're going to hit play just to keep going on the shot. It's booming up with the jib. And right before we hit the end, I'm going to stop the shot. So the camera gets to the point, it gets to the top, and it kind of bounces there. So I'm going to go backwards. To go backwards, you hit the J key. While the camera's still in motion, I'm going to hit a mark out. Mark out is what tells the computer where the shot should end. Okay? So we define what the in point is and what the out point is. So this is our shot if we wanted to use this in our video. Next step, if we want this in our movie, let's say this is our shot 1, we're going to click and we're going to drag this into our sequence. It's also going to grab the audio with it. Okay, so now this is a really, really important step. This is a step that a lot of students will miss. You get a dialog box here that says clip mismatch warning. So this camera right here that I'm holding up, the sequence setting that we selected, remember 1080p 30, is not a matching sequence. So the computer is telling us, hey, guess what? We have a much better sequence setting that you can use. So we're going to, we can either change the sequence settings or we can keep the existing settings. And so what we want to do is we want to change the sequence settings because we want to change it to what the camera filmed it as. So write down, if you don't get anything out of this lesson today, write down change sequence settings. So now what that's going to do is when we put our cursor on top of this, it's going to make it the same size as the original clip, which is the tree clip, okay? Right here, if I zoom in, you can go down here to this bar and you can click, drag to the left, and here's our shot. Anytime that you don't have footage, it's going to be black. There's not going to be anything there. There's our shot. It's booming up. You can hear the audio. Here's our audio track. If I click that open, the audio is with the video. If I actually move the clip, the audio goes with it. Let's say I want this as my last shot of my movie. I can drag the whole thing over here. Okay? So the audio goes with it. Let's say, man, I really don't like your audio. It's awful. It's terrible. We can get rid of the audio. We draw a box around this whole clip. We can go up to clip and we can select unlink, clip, unlink, and now the video and the audio are separate. So we can delete the audio. So now it's just the video. No sound. Okay. Questions at this point? Don't be afraid to raise your hand. Questions at this point? Okay, let's bring in the next clip. I want to show you, let's see, let's go to the mailbox shot. Mailbox medium. Okay. This is a mailbox shot, of course. I'm going to check and see if I got any mail. You've got mail. All right, so I'm going to hit mark in, because all the stuff at the beginning is nonsense stuff. Hit play. Space bar on the keyboard will start your footage. Space bar on the keyboard will stop your footage. Start, stop, start, stop. Space bar, okay? My neighbor was mowing his lawn. All right, so there's me. There's my hand. I'm going to hit mark in right there, right before I come in. Pretty simple shot. Check the mailbox, open it, close it. Didn't get any mail. Mark out. This is where my shot ends because I opened the mailbox, I shut it, and I left the frame. Nothing else happens here. Nothing at all. It's just a post roll of my mailbox. How much post roll did I shoot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I shot 5 seconds of post roll. Wow, that's what I'm supposed to do. All right, so next shot, or next step. We're going to drag this down into our timeline. Let's say that on your TV commercial, you only want video. Okay, so there's a way that you can do that. There's 2 icons here. There's a film strip, and if you hover over the film strip, it says drag video only. So what do you think that does? It just brings the video down. I'll show you one more other icon. Hover over the top of that. What does that one say? Drag audio only. So if you just want the audio of the mailbox, you can just bring that down. So if you want both audio and video, you're going to drag that whole clip down. So watch again, click, drag, and it's down. Let's say I just want the video. If we go right here on the film strip, drag video only, click, drag, down. That's just the video. And click on the audio, click, drag, audio. Okay, there's a couple different ways that you can get that footage down. What I don't want you to do is do it in separate steps. Like, oh, he said bring the video down, then bring the audio down. Now I'm going to try to match the two. No, don't do that. Please don't do that, because now you're just making more work for yourself. Okay, so if you truly want both audio and video from your clip, all you have to do is click, drag, bring it down to your sequence. Questions? Yes?
Didn't we get started good?
No, nope, we're doing this the whole hour. Because there's a whole bunch of other things I haven't showed you yet.
Well, we took a class with that step-band taught, and he does video production, so we know pretty much everything. It's more or less like we need to remind him.
Yep, so we're going to keep going because there's kids that are still not here today, so I want to make sure that they get the full lesson. Okay? You can teach the Adobe Premiere tomorrow, okay? Aiden, is that all right? Okay. So just you're all right. We're doing all right. I'm going to show you a picture of a squirrel and a rabbit coming up. So, yeah, I know, exactly. So I'm gonna, yeah. Okay, go ahead. All right, so I'm gonna show you kind of a cool edit here. The mailbox, I'm gonna check the mail here. All right, at this point, the mailbox is going to open. I've got a shot here that says inside mailbox. Yeah, I actually put the camera inside the mailbox. Wow. I did. I'm going to show you my mistake here, though. What do you think my mistake is? You'll see it. Watch. What was my mistake?
It's blurry.
It is blurry. Here's take 2. It's blurry. There, I'm in focus. So how would I fix that on my camera? Manual focus. I actually had to fix that. So here's take number 2 and 3. Okay, we're gonna do a take 2 because the focus went out of focus on the camera. So we're gonna do a take 3 on this. I'm also gonna make a mistake on this one, you'll see. What was wrong with that one? The exposure, very good. Okay, so and I watched that and I was like, oh man, I still didn't get it right. So number 4, take 4. We've got a 160 gig hard drive on the camera. We've got tons of footage here. And here comes a take 4. Yeah. So what I did was on the outside of the mailbox, I put the you guys see that black truck right there? I pointed the camera at the black truck right next to the mailbox, and I put it into the exposure. I checked to see what the camera would do. I put it in auto. Then I put it in manual. So when it's in manual, the exposure isn't going to go up or down. And then I also put the focus on manual focus. And then another thing I did was this camera, when you open the side, when you open it and the LCD panel is open, it's too wide to fit into a mailbox. So on here, if you go to menu and you go to setup, there's a way that you can record on here. There's a way that you can, instead of when you shut the lid and the camera goes off, you can make the camera stay on just by changing a menu setting in here. It's like power on by LCD panel. You can actually shut that off. So I hit record, I shut the LCD panel, and now I put it inside the mailbox. So there you go. Now it stays in focus, the exposure looks good, and okay. So it's a second good shot. So the art of editing. 2 cameras. I had 2 cameras, right? There's one right there and one inside the mailbox. Mr. Tauchi, you only had 1 camera. We're not that dumb, okay? Right? I only had 1 camera, but I'm trying to make it look like I had 2. So I'm gonna do a match edit. What is a match edit? Aiden, what is a match edit?
I don't remember that part.
Okay, a match edit is when you have a wide shot and a tight shot and you match the points where they meet. Where you match the action.
I just can't remember what it was called.
Okay, we match the action. So the mailbox is starting to open. So I'm going to shut the mailbox right there. I'm going to push a mark in right there. I'm telling the computer this is where I want that edit to happen. On this, I'm going to find the point where the mailbox is still shut. There it opens. So I'm going to put a mark in right there. And I'm going to push mark out. We'll see how this matches up. I'm also going to select video track 2. You guys can have, I think, up to 6 video tracks. If you go up here, you can go up to clip. Edit. Add tracks. So if you go to sequence and you go to add tracks, you can add 1 video track, you can add audio tracks. So you can do that by going up here. So now we have 4 video tracks, but we need 1 more up here on video track 2. So we're gonna edit this in. We just want to bring in the video, not the audio. So I'm gonna grab on top of drag video only to the endpoint. So here's what that edit looks like. We may have to do a little fine tuning. Okay, doesn't match up too bad. When you start doing your short film and you start doing multiple takes of wide shots and you are doing tight shots, in your head, when you open that mailbox, make sure that you count how long you keep that open, because then your match edit goes a lot easier. Okay, because so if I didn't shut that, it would be here. We can just keep it going. We just edit this. So you can see on my tight shot, if I go frame by frame, starting to shut, and it kind of actually matches. So where it wouldn't match, here, let me make it really not match. Okay, I'm shutting the mailbox, shutting it, it's almost shut. That is called a break in continuity. See how it's almost shut? And when you go to the wide shot, see how it's not? So that would be a break in continuity. So a lot of those things happen in movies and television. Okay, so let's replace some sound. Questions so far? So that was video track 1, video track 2, and the audio. We don't need to bring in that audio from inside the mailbox because we already have our sound from outside. So you don't really need to double that sound. So we could have, but if we do that, if we bring the sound down, that would go on to audio track 2. It's more distracting, if anything, so we'll just delete that. File save. It's reminding me to save. So to save your sequence, you go up to File, Save. All right, I promised squirrels and rabbits. Squirrels. All right, so when I got done filming the mailbox, yes, you may go to the bathroom. Squirrel. There's a squirrel right back here. You see my mouse. And so I got him on camera. He was interested in that as to what I was doing. I think squirrels have the coolest tail in the world. And then it went behind that bush, so we'll see how much footage we can get out. Plus, you know what I did wrong was... What's that?
You didn't give him any lead room.
I know, I was not on a tripod or anything. Plus, I was focused on the outside of the truck, so if we bring in the squirrel hopping, we mark it in. It's not too bad on lead room. Come on, give me a break. All right, it's hiding. And we'll bring that down here. So there's our squirrel. And if we wanted to actually replace that sound, if we didn't like that, we could bring in, let's bring in a leaf blower. Okay, so here's our leaf blower sound. All right, so this is where our leaf blower sound starts. So we hit mark in. We're telling it where to start. And then what you can do is we can bring that sound. We can hit mark in, mark out, just to get part of your sound in here. What we can do is we can just drag that audio, we can drag it down on top of this, on top of our existing squirrel sound. All right, so now we have leaf blower sound over the top of our squirrel. All right, questions? Now there's a couple ways that we can cut that leaf blower sound, because you notice that the leaf blower sound is still going. Okay, how do I cut that? Anybody know? Raise your hand. Yes.
For the audio, could you do like mark in or mark out?
We could. Once it's down in the sequence, though, you have to either cut it or you have to trim it. Yes.
You can select the audio and then do Control K. Does that work for this too?
Let's check. Control K. It does work. Very good. Control K. So if you let me go Control Z here. You can put your cursor wherever you want that sound to be. You can highlight that. You know what? I don't even think I had to highlight that. Control K, and it cuts it. And then you can select it. You can delete it. Here's another way that you can do it. You can go to the end of that clip, and it changes to a red handle. Click, drag, brings that over. Okay. Another thing that happens here, let me see, do I have any footage here? Okay, so it just stops. I want it to actually go forward, so I'm just gonna bring this sound down one more time, just put it over here, just as a ending point. So you can see that my cursor is still moving here. And the leaf blower sound just like hits a wall and it just stops. What if I wanted the leaf blower sound to like fade out? How would I do that? I'm gonna show you. So up here on pen tool, we're gonna click pen tool. We're gonna hit a pinpoint here, which is also called a keyframe. And we're gonna hit another keyframe. So we have a starting keyframe and an ending keyframe. What I can do here is I can pull this down and it will actually fade that sound out. If I wanted the fade to go a little bit longer, I could pull this over. So it's a little bit more pleasing rather than just cutting out. Geese shot and sound effects. I know. So we're gonna replace the leaf blower sound. We'll put something a little bit more calming in there. So here again, I was at the mailbox. I was like, oh, there were like 50 geese flying over our house. Okay, so it's a good shot, kind of. Not really, because they were all hidden in the trees. But if I wanted to bring that sound down, we'd hit mark in. I'll go right there. Mark out. Mark in, mark out. If I want to just bring the sound down on top of the squirrel here, drag video only, drag audio only. We want to just drag the audio down, put that underneath here. Notice how the geese shot sound effect is not long enough. So here again, what you can do is you can click and drag it over to make it the length of the squirrel shot. You want to fade out the geese, right? Of course you do.
Right.
Grab the pen tool, keyframe, keyframe, fade it out, and sounds really nice. So deceiving your audience, you can do a whole bunch of different things to deceive your audience. Because it looks like when I was filming the squirrel, there were actually geese flying over the top. So Alfred Hitchcock was a master at deception on film. James Cameron is another deceptor of when things that you watch in movies, it's not real. Nothing is real. Everything is a trick in the movies, okay? So let's go on to another shot here. Geese. Oh, there was a rabbit when I was filming. There's a rabbit right here. So I wasn't able to get close to this guy. So I wanted him to move, so I started chasing him a little bit, and then he went underneath my neighbor's. Yeah, there he goes. So before he gets up, I'll just put mark in. Mark in is the beginning of your shot, and then the camera goes wacky. So hit J key. So I'm just gonna take just portion of that shot. Mark out. I'm gonna hit mark out because now this is where my camera goes crazy. Okay, so we'll bring this back. That's a good shot. So I'm gonna bring both of the audio and video down. So I'll click on the rabbit, bring that down to my sequence. I should also mention this. When you're editing, this bottom bar, the scale bar, you can move forward in your sequence, you can move backwards in your sequence. Let's say I want to get as far as, I should say this first. There's 30 frames in 1 second of video, okay, 30. In your case here, there's 60 frames per 1 second because you're filming in high definition video. So if we want to zoom in and find, like, let's say we want to find the beginning part of this rabbit shot, even though we can actually see that. You can find this little box right here that's connected to the scale bar. Click, drag it to the left, and it zooms in, zooms all the way into the frames. 3820, 3821, 3822. The 22, the 23, the 24, 25, those are frames. So it actually, you know what, I was wrong. It is only 30. 30 frames per second in your guys' world. 30, because once it gets to 29, it starts over again at 0. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those are frames. The next one over, this 39, this is seconds. 39 seconds. This one right here is minutes. So when our movie production class, when we finish our film, we're always shooting for about 30 to 40 minutes on our short film, if we're lucky. Okay, so we've got our rabbit here, and let's bring in our squirrel. We're gonna do a visual effect here. So before the squirrel goes away, I'm actually going to dissolve the two shots together. So I'm gonna actually grab this rabbit shot, and there might be a time that you want to dissolve two shots together on either your PSA, your TV commercial, whatever. So the two shots here are together. Here's the squirrel, and here's our rabbit, okay? So I'm going to go in between these two edits. This is called an edit. If I want to zoom in here, grab this box, zoom in. Here's our edit point. Right here, the squirrel. Right here's the rabbit. Two different shots. If we want to mix the two together and do like a cross dissolve, we can go right here. We can right click and apply default transitions. There's a whole bunch of other you can do a clock wipe, you can do a swirl wipe, whatever. This case, we're just going to do a dissolve. I'm going to zoom out here. It's called a cross dissolve. So we can cross dissolve the video. And you notice that the audio is very distracting. It goes from geese to a quiet rabbit shot. We can actually fix that. So we can actually have the geese fade into the next shot. So on the audio, this is audio track 1. We can also do a right click and apply default transition. If you want to see this up close, we can zoom in. And you can see that while this one is going out, this other one is coming in. So if we listen to this. Okay, so the video and the audio both fade. If you want the video to fade longer, this is where pre-roll and post-roll play a crucial role in how long of a dissolve that you can do. If you don't have enough pre-roll or post-roll, you can't do this. So that's why we're always encouraging you to do enough pre-roll and post-roll. So we'll hit play. You've noticed that I've made the cross dissolve. It's about 4 seconds long. Okay, or you can even shorten it up if it's too long. Another way that you can do that is if you double click on cross dissolve here, it brings you up to this menu, and actually it was 2 seconds and 19 frames. We can bring the duration, we can bring that down to 15 frames. So now it's just a tiny, tiny little dissolve. Okay, sometimes that's all you need, all right? Leaf blower, we'll move this over. Let me go to, this fence zoom is okay. It's a shot of a fence. I'm about 4 feet away from that first fence post. You can kind of see that the rest of the background. I'm zoomed in all the way into that first one right there. Oh, actually, it's the second one. So I kind of screwed up that first one, that zoom out. There's like a fine, when you're trying to do a zoom out on the camera, there's a fine point where it actually will work. So I was just trying to find that. This one here. Okay. So we find our starting point, which is right there. Mark in. We'll hit mark out, and then we will bring this down. I want to bring both the video. Oh, let's just bring the video. Drag video only. Drag that down to the timeline. You'll notice that this bar up here, when you're working, this bar, this is your kind of your work area. So you can see that there's yellow lines above the video. You guys see that? These yellow lines. This when you're ready to render your video, which means to make it playable and to export it out, these yellow lines will go away. Okay. So we'll play this back. We have our fence shot. If we want to replace the audio, we can go to our famous geese shot. And the nice thing about this is when you call up the same shot, it will always remember what you had set as your in point and your out point. So let's say that you want to change it. You can go to mark in, mark out. I've set a new audio. So now what I can do underneath this fence, I can pull this audio down, drag audio only, drag it down. And you'll notice here if I zoom in and grab this little box here, zoom in, my audio is not long enough. So I can do one of two things. I can pull this over and stretch it out this way, or Control Z. I could pull this out from here too. Okay. And then another really cool thing is once you get your audio and your video lined up like that, what you can do is you can make that one shot, so you're not constantly doing this, like constantly adjusting it. You can draw a box around it like this, then go up to clip and link. So now you've just told the computer, yep, the geese audio were actually in fact on my camera when I was recording the fence. So if we play it back. So you just married those two together. So now they will all move together, and we did that by going up to clip and linking those together. If you decide, you and your group, like, oh, that's stupid. There wouldn't be geese on a fence shot. Take that off. Okay, so then what you would do, you draw a box around your video and audio, go up to clip, unlink it, get rid of your geese, delete. Okay? Questions? We've only scratched the surface on this. There's so much other stuff that we can show you. This is the basics. If you understood and you watched, this will get you through the first project. But we're going to do one more day on training on this so that I can kind of go through the text, the titles, some motion graphics to make your TV commercials the best that they can be. All right? So one more day tomorrow, and then we're going to set you free. We'll get you guys going, finishing your TV commercial. All right? I will post this on Schoology. You guys can take off. Have a good night.
Okay, you watching the